Today we'll be taking a journey through the reservation process of Web Help Desk, or WHD. From the humble beginnings of creating a new model type, to watching that model blossom into a reservable asset, and finally, reserving that asset from start to finish. Firstly, you may need to add a new model into WHD if one doesn't already exist. So we will go ahead and click on Setup. Then Assets, finally Manufacturers and Models. For this exercise, we will use an existing manufacturer, say Belkin. Now the majority of our manufacturers will already exist in the system, but if not, you will need to contact your WHD admin to create a new one. Once we're in here, we click on the Model Editor tab and select New. For this example, we'll be calling this a test adapter. And now the asset type we choose will be adapters. Once again, most asset types will exist. However, if you need to create a new one, contact your WHD admin. Once done, press the Save button and you've now created your new model. Now, on to adding a specific asset into WHD. So we'll click on the Assets tab and then select New Asset. Your asset number is a unique name or number given to this specific asset. For this example, we'll be using Test Adapter 1. The asset type, we will choose Adapters. And the model, we'll use our newly created Belkin Test Adapter. Now, the location and department are important steps to help identify where the asset you are creating will live. There may be multiple Test Adapter 1s around the country, but there should only be one per site. So assigning specific department and location takes any confusion out of the equation. As these are all IT equipment used for loaning to clients, I always choose GIS as the location and the department. For this example, I'll use 32 Grosvenor Street as that is my current location. Finally, and the most important step, is to tick the reservable box. Without doing this, you are unable to reserve this asset. Once this is done, press Save, and you now have yourself one reservable asset. On to the final step of reserving this asset. If we click on the Reservations tab, and then we click into a New Reservation. Now, the number field you see first is an auto-generated number to identify how many reservations we have used all up. You can ignore this first field. However, you will need to add a client under which you are reserving this asset. For this example, I will be using myself. The scheduled out and scheduled in fields are to indicate when the user is taking the asset and when they expect to bring it back. And I will bring it back at 11 AM. Next, we need to search for the specific asset we are reserving. I find it easiest to search using a combination of asset type and location. Once again, this will help eliminate the reservation of an asset from another office. Once you select the asset, you will notice it now appears in the Reserved Assets field. You can now hit Save and your reservation is set up. Whether you are giving the user the asset straight away or scheduling the reservation for a later date, you will now see the reservation on the summary page. Once you have handed the asset to the user, you need to check out the asset. This means that the asset has now left your custody and is in the hands of the user. The same goes that once the user is done and returns the asset, you click on the Check In button. It is important to note that once an asset is 30 minutes overdue, the user will receive an email reminding them to return the asset. This will continue on a half-hour schedule until the asset is checked back in, so it is important to check in an item as soon as the user returns it, to avoid them receiving the follow-up email if they have already done the right thing. This now concludes my tutorial. I hope this was as fun and entertaining for you as it was for me. If you have any questions, please contact your manager or WHD admin for clarification. Have yourselves a peachy day.